So this is how one's own character can spread the glories of Gurudev everywhere. It's not that I'm just preaching the glories, but if someone sees my character, by that I will be able to spread the glories of Gurudev. I cannot tell you how many times people have said, I don't know why disciples of your guru think they're so this and that. They're doing all kinds of nonsense. What makes them any better than anyone else? I've been at parties with them. And just something like that, immediately you feel that sinking feeling in your heart and your stomach. Oh, this person is now disrespecting our Gurudev because of the behavior of the so-called disciples who claim this is my guru, therefore I am great. So it's not enough to just have a high-class guru, Srila Gurudev would say. Remember when he would say that? Mm-hmm. No, it's not like an iPhone. You got a nice thing, and so you can show that off. Having a high-class guru means that we also have to step up and become a high-class disciple. Hare Krishna, welcome. And to the extent that one is under the discipline and accepting the tutelage, accepting the instructions, applying them practically in one's life of Sri Guru, to that extent they can call themselves a disciple. Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj says that one cannot call himself a disciple if they act whimsically in a mood which is even contrary to the instructions of Sri Guru. So we throw this word around very readily, disciple, disciple. But our Guru Parampara is also called the disciplic succession. Succession of disciples. So who is actually holding on tightly to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and following the discipline that Sri Guru is giving? That is really a disciple. And for those of us who are very weak and our minds are running all over the place and we're not really adhering to the instructions of Gurudev, then we can hope and pray. When, oh when will that day come when even a little sincerity will manifest in my heart and I may be actually counted among being a real disciple of my Gurudev. Until that time, really, we should always feel the other way. Narottam Das Thakur, Lochan Das Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, all of our acharyas are feeling, I'm so unfortunate. I have no attraction. I have no real adherence. I'm not following. I'm not doing anything. My mind is wicked and doing all nonsense things. And so they're feeling this about themselves. And those who approach Sri Guru with that kind of mood, but also have a mood of loyalty. Srila Gurudev said this is what Guru wants from the disciple. Loyalty. He knows we have all sorts of anarthas, but he wants loyalty. If there's loyalty, he can work with that. Yes, I accept that you understand what is good for me. I accept that I am also a first-class nonsense and I need help from beyond myself. That is why I'm placing myself in your shelter. Please make me qualified. Please make me humble. I have no strength on my own. Please give me the strength to be able to call out, to chant Harinam. Please awaken even a little bit of faith and humility in my heart. Accept me and make me your own. Take my Atma and make me like you. Make me yours. Accept me. And when we approach Sri Guru from that perspective, Guru begins the work, as Sudevi told yesterday, of cleaning the heart. It's a big job. Somebody's got to do it. We don't know what's in our closet. Skeletons for thousands and millions of lifetimes. We can only see the outer surface. Remember I told this morning, you were there. I didn't know what was inside, and something triggered it, and it was a whole series of things from my own childhood, from one momentary thing that triggered an entire emotional outburst when I was in my mid-30s, and I was like, I didn't even know that was there. We don't know what's there from this life, what to speak of last life, and the millions of lifetimes before. But Sri Guru can see it. Srila Gurudev looked at the face of one astrologer, and he said, on your forehead, I can see, what was it, 10,000? Mm-hmm. 10,000 lifetimes. And I was like, ooh. But Gurudev is the manifestation of Paramatma in the heart. Chaitya Guru, the Guru of the heart, stepping outside to interact with us so that we can understand that Guru is a person, is interacting and understands. We can communicate with them. So he takes that position as Diksha and or Shiksha Gurus for the purpose of interacting with us, because we cannot really detect the presence of Paramatma in the heart through our mundane material senses. How can we actually glorify Gurudev? Some people think, oh, whatever I do, that can't affect Gurudev. He's a transcendental personality. So what does it matter what I do? He's pure, nothing can touch him. But this is the wrong mood. A disciple should never have this mood. A disciple should have the mood that my actions, my behavior, my words, this will reflect upon my Gurudev. So I should behave accordingly, so that only glory goes to my Gurudev. Sriman Narayan himself gave this example when his own gate guards offended the 4 Kumaras. He said, whatever the servant does is the responsibility of the master. And so I personally take responsibility for the nonsense these two have done. I will not hesitate to cut off my own arm or head if that is what is necessary to repay you. So he took it personally, that what my servants have done, I am responsible for this. And our Gurudev also had this kind of mood. If anyone was doing anything that was, how do you say, irresponsible, he also would take responsibility. So it does reflect upon the master. So our Srila Prabhupada said that the duty of the disciple is to act or behave in such a way that no disrespect comes to their spiritual master. And that is something that any disciple who is really trying to become a disciple, who is really hoping for that real nature to manifest in their heart, that I am actually the disciple of my Gurudev. Radhe Radhe, Hare Krishna. Welcome. Any person who really wants to have this true, deep mood in their heart, they will always take this into consideration. By my mind, by my body, by my words, by my actions, what people can see and what they cannot see, because Guru is always present here also. What will I do? How will I act? How will I be? And will this be pleasing to my Gurudev? And will this also bring respect to my Gurudev? And then from there we will be able to progress on the path of bhakti, because that mood in itself will inspire conviction, nishta in the heart. And as our Gurudev would always say, again and again, 1,000 times, Guru Nishta is the backbone of bhakti. So I just wanted to share that, but this Ebe Jash Ghushuk Tribhuvana, in the book here it has parentheses around it, so it's kind of a added thing, but Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj explained that that is by our behavior, by our adherence, the glories of Gurudev will be spread far and wide. And if you look, if you see our acharyas, our gurus, like our Srila Prabhupada, how are the glories of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada spread far and wide throughout the world? Look at his disciples, how they were so strong in their adherence, their practice, and how they were representing his teachings, his moods, his mission. And by that, the glories of their guru was established far and wide.
I just wanted to add that one of those amazing tricks into being with the mood that we're trying to represent our Gurudev, when we act like this, when we remember that Gurudev is with us, like Kishori Mohan and I, we always say, we should act like Gurudev is standing next to us. What I speak, what I'm speaking, what I say, what I'm about to say, what I do, what I'm about to do. What then happens is that you become more attached to Gurudev. And then you start to want to really become that. You want to follow, you want to represent. I remember once in a class we heard Srila Gurudev say, if you just take the name of your Gurudev, and then he used his Gurudev as an example, Keshav Maharaj. He said, this is an offense. You never just say the name of your Guru. He said, but with folded hands and so much honor, Jalila Vishnupad, like this, Om Vishnupad Parama. Like, so Gurudev was saying to do it with so much honor, with respect. And so after we had heard that, we tried it. We were walking, I think it was in Fiji somewhere, we were walking and someone asked us, who is your Gurudev? And so we folded our hands and we said the name of our Gurudev. And you can tell the person was like, whoa. They were taken back by that. And automatically it made them have some respect and honor for our Gurudev just by not saying, oh, Narayan Maharaj is my Guru, but giving him that honor, that respect, that title that is his automatically. And we saw the reaction in another person just by saying his name with intention and with attention and with affection. Automatically it made that other person have some reverence, and they folded their hands like, oh, okay. You know, because we always do that. We get used to saying, you know, our Gurudev's name, or, oh, Gurudev, Gurudev. But really, my Gurudev, Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta, with folded hands. And that's why, like during Mangalacharna, because so many things we do every day. And I remember as we've been traveling around, devotees would say, how do you not become bored with doing the same mantra every time? You sing the same bhajans, because you have to be attentive when you're saying the name of each acharya, folding your hands in honor, remembering those personalities, those gifts that they have given us, calling on them, not just their names, but some of their attributes, some of the wealth that they have bestowed upon us are in that Mangalacharna. And if we do it attentively, and when we're saying their name, offering that pranam, how can you get bored? You start to feel like they're mine. This is my person. And when you hear anyone else talk about them, even like when you see on Facebook or something, someone writes, oh, Bhaktisiddhanta said this. And you're like, wait a minute, who? Who? You can just say, or Vishwanath. Instead of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they say Vishwanath.
Right.
I'm like, oh, are you on a one-name basis with them, first name? You just hang out and talk all the time? Like, you can actually say that. You see the way our Guru Varg, our Gurudev folding his hands, talking about these Vaishnavas with so much reverence, with so much honor. And then, you know, you say, okay, Maharaj, what? How do you notice this thing once you start to practice that kind of representing your Guru Varg, your Gurudev? When you see it being just thrown into the wind, you become possessive. That's my person. And you're talking about them like this? You know, and then you have to say, we should be careful. Don't treat them like that. It's not a light thing, this path that we are embarking on. And it's true, so many times devotees say, oh, I'm not high enough to represent my Gurudev. Oh, I'm not of that. But just by wearing tilak, we're representing Krishna. Isn't it? Just by even dressing differently, people know, oh, they must be Hare Krishnas. So if we act in a wrong way, automatically they're thinking, oh yeah, they're Krishna devotees. So we're representing God. Absolutely, then we're representing our Gurudev.
Right. And
And that's not a bad thing. To be known as somebody, like we've gone to places where, or we know of places where, if they know we're Gurudev's disciples, they don't want us there.
we get rejected.
Or
because
you're
of-
with another camp, something like that. But we just feel like we're all brothers and sisters. But when anyone rejects me because of my association with my Gurudev, I'm like, yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
success.
Yeah, they know who I am. I'm with him. You know, it doesn't make me upset. It doesn't make me cry. It makes me like, you're considering that I'm with that personality? Thank you. Thank you. So yes, when, you know, because so many times we think, oh, I want to have this kind of affection for my Gurudev. It starts in our behavior toward our Gurudev, toward our Guru Varg, and also in front of all other Vaishnavas. That's how we begin to have that kind of mood, just in small little actions, by folding our hands and saying the name of any acharya. And then others around you will never just haphazardly use their name. They'll know, no, that's not right. I can't do that.
Not in front of them.
Yeah. So such a small thing, but we saw how it actually changed everything. And that person wasn't necessarily favorable to Gurudev, but they're like, oh,
they had to be respectful to us because they saw the level of respect that we represented toward our Gurudev. And even if they didn't feel respect to him, they knew, don't cross that border, right? So they were like, oh, okay. And they had to be respectful.
Yeah.
One time, it was our first traveling preaching, I would say solo. Before we used to travel with other traveling preachers, and then Gurudev told us, you two should travel on your own. We said, but can't we be with any other sannyasi? We can just do the kirtan for them. And Gurudev said, why should I cut my preaching in half? If you and them are in the same place, then another location will be missing the opportunity. He said, so I want you to go on. We were like, okay. So we had to go off on our own. So we are a team, a solo team. So we went to Houston. It was our first time venturing out, just us two. And we went and did a program one place, and I think the people that who were hosting that program were very into karma, the aspect of karma, not so much into bhakti. But our whole class was about pure bhakti. Everything we had heard from Gurudev and Prabhupada and all of different examples, we were speaking about pure bhakti. And they were trying to say, yes, but serving humanity, doing this, doing that. And we were like, no, Bhagavatam says this. And then they're like, that's just the problem with you people. You are too one-pointed.
They used those words and we were like, yay!
We got so happy because Gurudev was always saying one-pointed bhakti. And we thought, oh, Gurudev would be so pleased. Because they were criticizing us for being one-pointed. And I thought, oh, how charming. Gurudev would be so happy to hear that we're representing him in a one-pointed way. So I just wanted to share that in this context.
Also, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask them. We love when there are questions and there's more of a interaction rather than just a,
And this evening there's a more intimate assembly here, so you don't have to be afraid that there's a lot of people who will hear your questions. But we do like to have much more of a dynamic interaction.
Because sometimes you have an inspiration to speak something, but it might be your own. And others might have something else in their mind that would help them, or it would be something they're wanting to hear about, or something that they've been thinking. And when there are smaller groups together, then it's more intimate and we can have that kind of interaction. So, if there are any questions, feel free. I know you do.
Do you want me to just hold on and let everybody
No.
Go for it.
When your Gurudev asked you to go out and preach, did you feel like you had the philosophy and all the leelas down and everything like that, or or did you feel like, who are we to go out and speak to other devotees?
Crying all night, crying and crying. We were in our 20s. No one really knew us. We didn't know anything. Well, we felt we knew nothing. I mean, obviously,
We didn't know much.
Obviously, any devotee who has read one book of Srila Prabhupada, one book of our Gurudev, to say we don't know anything is being an ingrate.
Right.
So we can't say that, but yes, we felt like we knew nothing, and it was mortifying. And so I was trying to tell Gurudev, I can't do it, I can't go out and speak. And he just said this. He said, if you do not continue traveling and preaching and inspiring on my behalf, he said, you will lose your kirtan. But if you continue and you travel and preach on my behalf, your kirtan will do everything. And then he just was like, go, think about it, come back. And it was very, very difficult. It was very hard, especially when senior Vaishnavas would come and sit down, Prabhupada disciples, even, those who were our Gurukul teachers. They come in our classes and they sit, even, in Eugene. She came in our class, this is the person who was teaching us Sanskrit as little kids and, she yelling at us and, and now she's sitting in our class looking, you're like, you revert to being a kid again. But actually what we began to do through trial and error we thought that we could memorize the Leelas. We thought that we could memorize all of our Gurudev's classes. But that made us in a little box, that we weren't growing, and inspiration wasn't automatically coming. We weren't allowing for inspiration. We were like, I'm capturing this, you know, what I read in a little pamphlet, I'm capturing it in my mind, and I'm just going to regurgitate it, and there's my class. And that's what we did, especially what I did. I would memorize the whole class, and if I would mess up, I would have to start over, because I only knew it word for word. And this is when we were practicing. We actually practiced trying to give classes, and the headmaster, the head teacher in New Brunswick, California, he said, just come and give classes to the kids, you know, and you can just do play classes. And so the kids would be there waiting, and we would try to have these classes, and kids would just be like, you know, so you tried to be entertaining. But what happened was, over time, and through associating with many different Vaishnavas, we had to start answering questions. We had to start letting go of thinking that we had to know everything and just let inspiration flow. And when that happened, we saw that things that we had heard years ago in Gurudev's class would just begin to flow through, or things where we didn't even know where they were coming from, but we knew we heard them. And then the next day you'd hear a class of Gurudev, and there it was. And so we realized that we were actually trying to conquer this knowledge with our own might. And when we let go of that, automatically we became inspired, and inspiration began to flow. And then we realized, if we don't know the answer, unlike maybe a sannyasi or a guru, we can say, I don't know. I don't know the answer. And how we felt so free, because then we could say, you've caused us to have a question. Now we can go to our Gurudev. We can go to the senior Vaishnavas and ask them. And I used to be so afraid, Gurudev's going to call on me to speak, and then I'm going to be exposed.
Well, one time Gurudev told her, he said he's going to call on her to speak. He actually said in the crowd that, be ready, I can call on anyone to speak. And she was so afraid. I had a fever. I got a fever because I was so scared. My heart was pounding. And so, you know, I couldn't hear anything he was speaking. I was just, my ears were burning, and I was like freaking out. But he didn't call on me. So that night he was going back to his room, and we would all run out to him to try to get a glance as he was walking by. But he passed me, and I was like, thank God. You know, he just went right past. And then one devotee next to me, she said, Srila Gurudev, Sudevi's afraid you're going to call on her to speak. And I was like, oh! And Gurudev turned around and came right in front of me. And he said, yes, I want to see all of your astasattvic bhavs. That meant he wanted to see me trembling, shaking, sweating, and all kinds of bhavs that come from... Anyway, so then he said, so tomorrow be ready. And I was just looking at him. And then he just smiled and he said, to sing. And then, but what was I trying to say? Sorry, I cut you off. We were talking about how when Gurudev was having this.
So what happened was, I was always afraid, and I couldn't hear Gurudev speak because I was afraid he was going to call on us. So then Shamrani Didi, she sent us a message or something. She said, oh, you're in the New Morning Walk book. And I'm like, really? So then we got the New Morning Walk book, and we looked for our names in it because Gurudev's talking about us. So we look in, and he's telling one devotee, Raghava Pandit, he's like, oh, you should preach. And he's like, Gurudev, I don't know anything. He said, anyhow, you should preach. He said, like Sudevi and Kishori Mohan, they don't know anything. But all are welcoming them. And I read it, and I was like, oh my God, he knows. He knows that I don't know anything. And I felt such relief. Like, even in front of him, it was like I was exposed to the world, and he knew it. He's the one who said it. So I lost all fear. I didn't have to be afraid of Gurudev. He knows I don't know anything. And then it was in the morning walk book, and so, fear-free. But anyway, no, we did. We felt, one day we went to Gurudev to see him in Mathura after he had told us to preach. And we wanted him to know that we were studying, trying to capture this. And he looked at us and he said, "What are you still doing here? What are you doing? I told you to travel and preach." And we had the Upadeshamrita. We're like, "Gurudev, we're studying Upadeshamrita. We're trying to memorize everything." And he said, "What you know now, go and preach. Go and share with others what you know now." And then you think, well, what do I know now? I know you. I know about Srila Prabhupada. I know about Vrindavan. And then automatically you understand, even if you don't know everything, and there's somebody who has so much more knowledge, if you actually think about it, if somebody is really tasting and they have mood toward Krishna, toward Gurudev, anything they hear about them will make them happy. Just like if you're in love, right? Say you're madly in love with someone. If you hear anything about them, oh, they like this toothpaste. Oh, I'm going to use that toothpaste. If you hear anything, it makes you happy.
Right.
And even if you know that person inside and out, when you hear others talk about them with affection, you automatically have affection for them. You automatically think, oh, you're my person. So then when you know that someone has affection for Guru, affection for Krishna, even if you're speaking on the most elementary platform, you know that that person is so happy. Like Gurudev. Gurudev would sit on the Vyasasan and he would call anyone to speak on Krishna, on Tattva Siddhanta. And they weren't Tattvadarshis.
Right.
But yet they're repeating what they heard, and Gurudev would be laughing, and then Gurudev would get inspired and he would interrupt them and start telling the rest of something, because he was so happy to hear about his beloved. And Srila Gurudev once said, when I was only in the mat for 2 weeks, my Gurudev had me stand up and speak on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Can you imagine if our Gurudev told us to speak on his Gurudev? After only being there for 2 weeks, we wouldn't even know about him.
Right.
I don't know anything about your Guru. So to hear those devotees that come to hear, even if it's not anything new, like our Gurudev would say, what to tell? I've already told everything. Every year for 50 some odd years, he was telling during Kartik month, Damodar Leela. Every year, the same katha. No one sat there and thought, I've heard Damodar Leela before, I can miss this.
Right.
And Gurudev, he would start by saying that. Oh, we'll go through it quickly, then we'll go to something else. But then when he would begin, he would start telling about Damodar and Mother Yashoda. And then Gurudev would start telling so many different leelas. And he would be telling them as if he had never told them before. He would be laughing and bouncing when he would laugh. And he would be telling the same thing. But it was almost like you hear, it's ever fresh. And then we were all laughing like we had never heard it before too. Because he's seeing it for the first time again. So no, we didn't feel qualified. But then we realized if we wanted that kirtan, Golokera Premadhana, Harinam Sankirtan. If we wanted that kind of kirtan, then whether we were qualified or not, we had to go out, and this was our seva. And that is why every time anyone comes to hear or to join us in kirtan, we feel so indebted and so grateful if we're hosted, if anyone will open their door. Because without it, we don't have that seva. This is the life that our Gurudev has given us, and without it, qualified or not, it's only death. There's no real life. So we feel that the devotees give us life by giving us an opportunity to serve, whether we're qualified or not, whether we know anything or not. Even if only we can inspire someone to want to chant Harinam, to want to serve Thakurji, to want to go to Vrindavan, or even to want to meet a Vaishnava. If we can do that much, then our Gurudev will be pleased, and we're blessed.
When we first started, Gurudev ordered us in 1999 in Kartik, and he made a team, us two and one devotee, Vishaka, who had been with him for 10 years and really, really going deep. I mean, he was teaching her personally, Krishna Bhavanamrita, all really like a lot of personal lessons. And Gurudev told us all that we should travel and preach. And what you know now, go and preach. So I didn't consider that she's been with him for 10 years or anything. Sudevi was feeling a little bit nervous, but I used to sit up on the stage next to her thinking like I was this kid that was going to tell something, and all I knew was a few verses from Bhagavad Gita about you're not your body, and some verses from Brahma Samhita. But Gurudev said, what you know now. So I sat like, okay, I'm going to do this. And Sudevi would sit facing us, and we'd do the kirtan like that. And then after a month or two, I discovered that people weren't coming to hear me speak. I was like, okay, we're actually here to hear her share what she's learned from Gurudev.
But then Gurudev told us, everything that I've given her, he said, I can't give to each one of my disciples. I can't have this one-on-one time with them. So everything I've given her isn't for her alone. I want that you should learn everything from her. How to do Thakur Seva, how to cook, how to do everything. I want you to learn this from her, and I want you to share it.
Right.
So he made it very clear that it wasn't like, it was like, oh, this is a favorite disciple, because I want you to share everything that you have learned, because it's from me.
And he said it's for all.
It's for all.
Yes.
Do you still keep in contact with Vishaka? Or?
No, on the order of Gurudev.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's a different story.
Yes.
Sounds good.
For another day. So,
Yes, Janara?
Someone asked a question.
What did they ask?
Anjali, with the Trubhav being so soon
Tirobhav.
and so little of us, what would be the proper mood to honor him? How do we associate when there's no one nearby?
I always remember on the disappearance festival of our Gurudev, I remember being in Lithuania, and we were all speaking and giving our offerings to our Gurudev. Actually, no, forgive me, it was his appearance festival. And so this one new disciple of our Gurudev, she's new, she only met him like once. And, we had all prepared our hearts and our offerings, and we sat facing everyone. So then we called her like one of the last people, because she was new. And she got up and she knelt in front of the altar, in front of the picture of Gurudev. And she was just kneeling there, and she was weeping, and she was speaking to Gurudev. She wasn't speaking to the devotees, telling about, her special interactions or anything. She was just from the heart, crying and weeping and telling Gurudev how grateful she was that she was accepted as his daughter. Mm-hmm. And to this day, it was and is the most deep and beautiful impression of my God siblings that I have in my heart. I don't think I've ever seen her again. It wasn't like she was putting on a show. It wasn't like she had a paper ready to, make her statement in front of everyone, to whether it's be knowledgeable or not be stupid in front of, whatever it was. Nothing planned. She just sat and she told Gurudev her heart. And whenever Gurudev's day comes, appearance or disappearance, I remember her. And I remember that offering, and that's the kind of offering I always want to make. Even though we can't do that in front of everyone, just, turn our backs and talk to Gurudev. That's not our seva, but that is the kind of heart's offering that we should definitely try to offer, even if we're alone. My Gurudev even said that, I asked him once, how can I serve you? He said, you should go into a closet with no eyes, no one else around, just your Harinam Mala, your Harinam Prabhu, and your Gurudev. And in that place you should chant, weeping, Hare Krishna, Ha Gurudev, weeping for your Gurudev. He said, this is more than chanting lakhs and lakhs of Harinam, and this is seva to me. This is without an audience. This is just between you and your Gurudev and Krishna, trying to connect, trying to call out really with everything laid bare. No show, no nothing, just calling to your Gurudev. He said, this is more than chanting lakhs and lakhs of Harinam, because there is sambandha, there is relationship. So if we don't have a lot of devotees around to celebrate the appearance or disappearance, even if we do, there were so many at that appearance festival in Lithuania, but she herself conducted her own heart's offering in such a way that I truly believe that offering was fully accepted by our Gurudev. And that's the main thing. That's Puspanjali. Not necessarily making something, not necessarily making a feast. Puspanjali means the flowers of my heart, all that is beautiful and fragrant and sweet. Everything that I want to offer my Gurudev, my own Atma, my heart, Koromore Atma Sata. Take me and make me yours. That is the mood of Puspanjali. That is the mood of separation. And generally, you can't do that with so many around. So in one way, even though you may feel bereft of having so many Vaishnavas to be there for that celebration of separation, there's nothing that bars us from feeling that separation and that close connection with Gurudev, even if it is only one. So making your heart's offering, preparing your heart for Gurudev. You left my worldly vision on this day. And in that time, am I naturally, from the core of my heart, weeping for you? Am I remembering you? What am I doing in my life of significance to show that I am bereft of your Harikatha, of your association? How am I conducting myself? Have I gone on to just have a party? Or am I truly feeling the absence? Is there an urgency in my heart to have that kind of association? Hey Gurudev, please give me your mercy. Give me the association of someone like you. I'm drowning and I need you.
So now we will call out the mercy of Vaishnavas. Since you said I'm drowning and I need you. Thakura Vaishnava Gana, Kori E Nivedana, Vaishura Narottam Das Thakur, page 43 here. I don't know if it's in that
It's
old
not
book.
going to be in the old book.
Do you have Thakura Vaishnava Pada? Sorry. But,
Oh yeah. Avanira Susampada. Yeah.
but you don't have Thakura Vaishnava Gana, right? Kori E Nivedana.
Not in those.
Okay, don't worry about it then. Thakura Vaishnava Pada.
Is it in those ones?
This one, yeah.
Oh, then we can choose those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's more of those ones.
It's
Okay.
also on the phone, like the app. We have it.
Yes, we have
Okay.
it.
Page 43 in this version.
No, take this one.
Thank you, Anjali, for that question.
Book page number बताओ.
Thakur Vaishnav Pad is 27 in Hindi.
But we're doing Gana now.
She spends a lot of time in
Oh.
Madame.
Thakura Vaishnava Gana. It should be there too.
No, that's
It's page
not there.
33 in these ones.
I know the Anjali that has, she's like wearing green.
Yeah, that's different Anjali.
I see.
Thakura Vaishnava Gana Kori E Nivedana. Thakura Vaishnava Gana Kori E Nivedana. Oh krodha lobha moha madaya bhimana saha kama krodha lobha moha madaya bhimana saha apono yapono sthane dane apana apana sthane dane o aichano yamaro dhire jeno andhajan aichano yamaro dhire jeno andhajan supato pato nahi jane supata vipata nahi jane onalo inu sattamata asate mahilo chitta narayinu sattamata asate mahilo chitta otuva pae nako inu yasho tuva pae nako inu yasho naruto dasiko dekhi shuni lage bho naruto dasiko dekhi shuni lage bho utoraiya roho nijo pasho taraiya roho nijo pasho taraiya roho nijo pasho taraiya roho nijo pasho jayo vaishnava thakur jay vaishnava thakur vaishnava thakur jay vaishnava thakur jaya vaishnava thakur jaya vaishnava thakur vaishnava thakur jaya vaishnava thakur Prabhu kripa karo more daya karo Prabhu kripa karo more daya karo kripa karo more daya karo All Vaishnava Thakurs ki jai. The two things I was remembering while we were calling out this bhajan. One time, later in Srila Gurudev's physical presence, Srila Gurudev saw Sudevi weeping, and he said to her, "Thank you for your tears." He said, before everyone used to weep, he said, but now no one cries anymore. But he really, really liked it if the devotees were weeping and crying, because we only cry for that thing that we feel close to, that we feel attachment to. And so he was thanking her for her tears. So when she was weeping, I was remembering Gurudev saying, thank you for that. And then the other thing, because she was speaking based on Anjali Didi's question about being alone, Srila Gurudev said, if anyone is always with me, always serving, always in my association, he said, for sure, my mercy, my blessings are with them. But if anyone is very far away, maybe even in any difficult circumstance, but struggling, always endeavoring to try to follow my instructions, even through any great difficulty, but really making that ardent endeavor. He said, what to speak of my mercy being with them? My heart will melt and run to them. So even if someone is so far away physically, if one is really making that honest endeavor, if they're even alone, without anyone else, it may be that Gurudev is more present there with them in their heart than if someone is hovering around Gurudev like a mosquito. He told us we should not be like mosquitoes, just hovering and creating annoyance. That doesn't mean that everyone's around him is like that. But I can look at my own self. Maybe I might have been like that at any time, hovering around. Ooh, look, what's going on with Gurudev? Oh, did you see that? Like this. Or always just trying to be there, but not really taking what he's giving. But if anyone is even far away, but making that ardent endeavor, then he can fully manifest there and give his complete mercy. Do you want to share in that context?
Yeah, there was one time we were in Holland with our Gurudev, and Gurudev had just finished giving a morning class. And so my friend, a couple of friends and I, we were standing off to the distance, just watching Gurudev leave the pandal. It wasn't a pandal, the lecture hall. And Gurudev was walking out, and all the devotees were surrounding him. And we were just like, wow, look at Gurudev and all the Vaishnavas. And all of a sudden, Gurudev looked over toward us. There were 3 of us. He looked over toward us, and he immediately left everyone and walked toward us. And next to me was this really, really shy devotee. And she's so shy. And I liked her because of it. I liked to tease her. If you even talked to her, she would kind of be like, ah. So I used to play with her. But Gurudev walked right up, and he walked right in front of her. And he said, every day I am coming and hearing your sweet kirtan. And he said, every day I am coming. And then he blessed her and walked away. And so I looked at her, she was crying. And I said, so what, do you have a CD or something that I don't know about? What was that? And she said, no. She said, I've never told anyone this. I never told Gurudev this. She said, but as part of my daily sadhana, I put a pillow in front of me and I asked Gurudev to please sit there. And she takes a glass of water and welcomes him. And then she would take her songbook and she would just sing different bhajans. She's alone, no devotees around, but she would just sing different bhajans to Gurudev. And then when she was done, she would offer pranam and ask him to go. No picture, nothing. Just calling Gurudev, please be present here. And we were there. I heard Gurudev say, every day I am coming and hearing your sweet kirtan. And I was so astonished by that. It gave me so much hope and faith that if we just try with sincerity to call Gurudev when we're singing, when we're taking prasad, when we're doing arti, when we're doing anything but invoking the presence of Gurudev. He's not like a material person. Like if you put my picture somewhere, I'm not going to be able to know it. I can't hear you calling. You know, if you're doing mantra, Sudevi, can you do that? No, I won't know. But we consider and understand that Gurudev is not material. He is the mercy of Krishna manifest in our lives. And when we call him by mantra and we're asking him, please, you should come and offer this bhog I cooked for Thakurji, for your beloved. Please, you come and offer this. We have that faith that Gurudev is offering it. We know we can't. Do we know Radha and Krishna? Can I just say, here, Radha Krishna, I cooked this. Eat it. No. We go through our Gurudev, and on our behalf, he will petition Radha and Krishna. Oh, my little ones, they may make so many mistakes, like a baby learning to walk, getting up, falling down, drooling everywhere, passing in their diapers. But the parents, oh, look at all the potential that's there. They never see that as some reason not to love them, right? They think, oh, my baby, I'm growing it up and soon it will be able to run. It can run in marathons. He'll be able to do so many brilliant things. Oh, my child will become the president, the first woman president. They have so many hopes. So Gurudev is like that, but he knows our potential. So on our behalf, please don't see all of their mistakes. I accepted this one. Please, you should accept this offering. And we take shelter of Gurudev, and Gurudev is offering everything. We understand that he is transcendental, that he is descended out of sweet mercy. Krishna wanted to tell us something, and he took a form to tell us everything that he wants us to know. And that is Sri Guru. What he is telling us, Krishna wants us to know now. Guru is the mouthpiece of Krishna. How extraordinary. So when we're calling to him, it's not some kind of abstract idea. He's hearing us. We're chanting mantras. We're calling our Gurudev, our Guru Varg, Radha Krishna Gauranga. This is real. We're not doing it as a waste of time. We're not doing it as any kind of a ritual. Now I have to sit down and face this way and do this and do that and make sure I have tilak. That's all the externals. But what are we actually doing? At certain times of the day we chant our mantras. Why? Because those times are specific times in Krishna's Leela where seva is needed. And at that time, I'm calling my Gurudev. It means now I'm knocking on the door. I'm here. Please engage me in seva. And this is like the password. I have the password for the entrance into that place of seva. First, we're calling our Gurudev, our Guru Varg, and we're praying to them, please engage me. Oh, Mahaprabhu, please engage me in your loving seva. And then knocking on the door to Radha and Krishna's Braja Vrindavan. Please allow me entrance into this mood of seva. Everything we are doing is for a purpose. We don't just by ritual call our Gurudev. So some mood should be there, and when we do it, we should have the faith that Gurudev is present.
Right.
Mahaprabhu is present. I've called him. Gurudev did pran pratishtha in my heart. How? He gave me Krishna Nam. He gave me Guru Mantra. He's given me connection to my whole Guru Varg. And there I'm chanting and calling them. If we take things for granted and we just do them as a ritual and we sit down and we sing, then we're singing a nice tune. And we're singing a very old song. And it's a godly song, so it's better than what we hear on the radio. But it may not be prayer.
Right.
It's not our prayer. We're trying to mix our own heart to the hearts of these premi bhaktas. And we're taking shelter of them. So please, let my heart mix with yours. And I know that Krishna will hear your prayer. This is why we do Sankirtan, in Sangha, in Sadhu Sangha, because it may be that somebody within that Sankirtan, sung like in India, if any two or more rivers meet, it's called a Sangam. They're mixing together and they become like one river and flow. Like this. So Sangha means to mix into that company of those personalities whose hearts are flowing toward that Karuna Sindhu, that ocean of mercy, Krishna. So Sankirtan means that may my voice mixed with the voice of my Gurudev. You know how Gurudev, he would always be chanting Mangalacharna and everybody would try to chant with him. Let my voice mix with his when he's calling out Ha Devi Kaku Baragadagaya Dyavacha, or when he's saying, what is that, Tavayavasmi Tava. That's not my prayer. That's what, is that really my prayer, that I will die without your mercy? But that's his prayer. And that's the prayer of our acharyas, Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami. They have this mood. But if my voice can mix with his when he's calling this prayer, to his beloveds, then I might be heard. I might be counted. This is Sankirtan. Who's leading that kirtan? Our Guru Dev even said when we're doing parikrama, who's leading that kirtan on parikrama? Mahaprabhu is leading that kirtan. All of our Goswamis are leading that kirtan. Our Guru Varga is leading that kirtan. And our voices should mix in. He would say, if I see anyone chanting on their mala and not joining in that kirtan, I will take your mala. You join in that kirtan. Do you think your own Harinam on your own is more powerful than that Sankirtan? So the point is that we should always try to be in Sangha. Even if we are physically distant, it doesn't mean that our hearts have to be distant. Even though we're not aware of our Gurudev doesn't mean he's not there. Just because we're not aware of Paramatma, it doesn't mean he's not witnessing everything we do. We may turn the picture around to pretend Thakurji can't see my foolishness. We may hide Gopal, put him in bed. Okay, go to sleep now, I'm going to watch a movie. Thakurji's in the heart. Paramatma is there witnessing everything. We're not hiding from anyone. We think we are. The wind is seeing us. The sun is seeing us. Vayu seeing everything. We have so many witnesses continuously. But we're only concerned about a couple. Our Gurudev and Krishna Mahaprabhu. They're witnessing everything. We are not far. So many times you hear people say, oh, you're born alone and you die alone. No, Paramatma is there. Sri Guru is there. They've taken charge of us. They have said, even if my disciple goes to hell, I will pull them by the hair and pull them out of hell. So how deeply connected are we to our Gurudev? He's accepted us. And now we have something to give back. What is that? Our loyalty, our faith. Don't have any doubt. Doubt, Gurudev said, is like, he said, it's like a, what did he say, like a pin? He said it'll go in like a pin and come out like an elephant. Doubt can destroy everything. We should try to have faith. We should try to believe in the words of our Guru Varg. Believe in the words of Ved Vyas. Believe in the words of Tulsidas Ji, of Valmiki. All that they are giving and saying. We should have faith. Why would we have faith in what the people of this world are saying? Why do we give them prominence when we have everything? Dive into that ocean of faith and call out to our Gurudev. She would just put a pillow there. Not even a picture. Some of us, we can't even imagine, well, I'll put a picture there. Then my Gurudev is there. She didn't even do that. Just called Gurudev, please sit here. Because she was alone, so she sang, every day I am coming and hearing your sweet kirtan.
So now we will call for the mercy of Sri Rup Goswami and Sri Sanatana Goswami. Shuniyachi Sadhumke Bole Sarvajan, page 51 by Srila Narottama Das Thakur. Dandavat Pranam, all Vaishnava.
It's page 38 and non-spiral.
33.
Yeah.
28, Hindi 28. हिंदी में 28.
Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe bole sarvajana Shri Rupa kripayo mile yugala charana Shuniyachi sadhu
I can try.
Which one?
Just Jai Sachinandana Jai Gaura Hari.
Which page? Sure.
It
Oh, yeah.
It might say Nityananda Pranadana, like very simple. Jai Sachinandana Jai Gaura Hari.
Jai Sachinandana Jai
Jai
सच्चिदानंद गौर हरि की जय। सभी पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय।
Once upon a time, there was a bhakta of Lord Narayan. And he was a very sincere devotee of the Lord. Daily he would sit under a very, very large banyan tree. And this banyan tree had thousands and thousands of leaves on it. And sitting under that tree, he would chant, Shriman Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. One day, by the grace of Lord Narayan, Nard Rishi came into that forest. Immediately upon seeing Nard Muni, this bhakta got up and offered his Dandava Pranam. He said, "Oh Nardji, is it ever on your travels throughout the universes that you go to Vaikuntha and you see Lord Narayan?" Nard Rishi said, "Well, yes. As a matter of fact, I'm on my way there now." That bhakta said, "Oh Nardji, will you do one thing for me? Will you do one favor?" He said, "Sure, what?" "When you see the Lord, will you ask him when that sweet day will come, when I will receive his darshan?" Means when I will see him with my own eyes. Nard Muni said, "Yes, of course, I can ask him." So then, after some time, Nard Rishi was in Vaikuntha, doing whatever they do. Before he was about to leave, he remembered that bhakta, and he said, "Oh Prabhu, oh Lord Narayan, in one forest you have a bhakta, and day and night he's chanting your name." Lord Narayan said, "Yes, of course I know him. He's my bhakta. I know of him." "Well, Prabhu, he wanted me to ask you when that sweet day will come when he will receive your darshan." Lord Narayan thought for a moment, and he said, "You tell him that as many thousands of leaves as there are on that tree, he is chanting my name under. That is how many births, that is how many lifetimes it will take for him to ever receive my darshan." Nard Muni thought, "Oh my God, how will I tell him such a thing?" Anyway, he went back to that forest, and immediately upon seeing him, that bhakta offered his pranam. "Oh Naraji, Naraji, did you see him? Did you see Lord Narayan?" He said, Yes, I saw him." "Did you ask him my question?" He said, Yes, I asked him." "But what did he say? What was his answer?" He said, "Oh, Lord Narayan said that as many leaves as there are on that tree, that you are chanting his name under, that's how many lifetimes it will take for you to receive his darshan." Immediately then and there, that bhakta began to call out, "Ha Narayan, Ha Narayan." He threw himself on the ground and was weeping and calling the name of Lord Narayan. There is an end. Even though it seems like an eternity, there is an end to this separation from you. One sweet day I will see you. Ha Narayan, Ha Narayan, weeping the name of his Prabhu. Immediately Lord Narayan appeared there. Nardji looked at him. "Oh, Jai, Prabhu, Haribol. What are you doing here?" "I just told him this whole bad news story, and now I look like a liar. I told him he wouldn't see you for how many lifetimes, and now you're here." Lord Narayan said, "No, it's true. As he was chanting my name with that much enthusiasm, with that much hope, utsaha, nishtaya, with that much determination and patience, that's how long it would have taken him to see me. But when he came in contact with you, my own near and dear bhakta, you told him my message, and a greed entered his heart. By force that greed brought me here. I had to come. So coming in contact with Nardji, that Tattvadarshi, hearing the words from him repeating Lord Narayan, Immediately a mood entered his heart. It doesn't matter if it seems impossible. The message of my Prabhu is there. I will see him. But with greed, what is the price? What is the price to love Krishna? The intense desire to attain it. Tatra only the greed is the price to pay. So this greed entered his heart. And the Lord appeared once. Also I heard our Gurudev tell it. And he said that when Lord Narayan appeared, also a gust of wind came and blew all of the leaves off the tree. So that in both ways it makes so much sense that Lord Narayan, Lord Krishna, our own beloved, can make the impossible possible. If we have that faith, if we just chant like there's a nice tune, or if we just do our seva, putting on tilak, offering boga, doing arti, if we do everything just as an external ritual, oh, I'm making some punya. There's some sukriti coming, but I will never attain bhakti, bhav, or prem. If there's no intention, even in Shastra we're told, if we don't have a goal, if we don't have a sadhya, then what are we doing? We're doing the sadhana, but to attain what? It's like if you have, our Gurudev gave the example of a football match. He used to play football. So he said,
in his early days.
Yes, not when he was 80. When he was young, he was a football player. And so he said it's like having a football match. And all the rules and regulations are there. Both teams are there, and they have the ball, and both are playing. But there's no goal on either side. So they're doing all of the rules and regulations. They're running on the field, they're sweating, they're playing the game right. But no one will ever get anywhere because there is no goal. So if we don't have a goal, then what we're doing is not sadhana. It's something. It's building some kind of sukriti, but it may not be enough to give us bhakti. So we have to have a mood, an intention, a desire. I want to know you. I want to love you. I want to know how to serve you. I know that this Atma contains so much to give. I have love to give. And in this world, it is disappointed again and again through my millions and trillions of births through this samsara. I have loved billions of times. I have had trillions of children and parents and husbands and wives. I've been every species there is to think of. An ant, a roach, a shrub, a tree, a bacteria. I've been through all of it. And there is a conviction in me, and I have heard from the sadhus and saints, that this love, which has been introverted, pointed toward me through all of this samsara, all I have to do is turn it toward you, and that is my eternal perfection's bliss. That is what will get me out of this samsara as a byproduct. I only want to know you and to love you, because it is the nature of the jiva to serve and love eternally. Our Gurudev said, it is our janma adhikar. It is the birthright of the jiva. It is part and parcel of Bhagavan. So that need to serve is there, innate in the soul. It can't not have movement. So when we are chanting, when we are doing anything on this process of bhakti, if we don't have an intention and a goal, we will never reach anything. My Gurudev once said, you can follow thousands of Ekadashis. You can chant lakhs and lakhs of Harinam, but you will never attain bhakti. If we are not under Mahat Sangha, and if we are not doing it to attain the goal to love Krishna. Right? We can chant, and Nam Aparad will give us everything. A nice house, a nice husband or wife, whatever material thing we desire, it will come automatically. But that won't make us happy, and that won't give us love of God. We have to have a desire. Krishna says, as you approach me, I will also approach you. So if we're just nonchalant, well, okay, you won't be able to love me, but I'll give you something.
He'll be nonchalant.
He'll be nonchalant. So our acharyas are telling us we have to have a greed in our heart. Just like if we want a phone or a house or any material thing, we have greed, we have a desire. I have to have that. I need that new thing. I think it will make me happy. It will change my life. I need this. But then we get it and then a new one comes out. Oh, I need the new one. I need this. But we have a goal. At least we want something. We know what it means to want something. We're only disappointed because we've been wanting the wrong thing. And now we've come in contact with our gurus, with our acharyas, with Srimad Bhagavatam. And they're telling us to wake up and to turn our eyes toward Guru and Krishna. And if we do that with a mood and an intention, then our chanting of Harinam will be successful. Then our arti, our taking of Mahaprasad, all of it will become service and Krishna will be pleased. If we don't do it like that, then how will we attract him? Krishna is that God, that aspect of Bhagavan that is completely greedy. That is our beloved Lord Krishna. He's greedy. We know he's a thief. What's he stealing?
Butter.
They're churning butter. Our Gurudev said, when the gopis are churning butter, he said their hearts are melting and entering into that makhan. And what is happening? Krishna becomes so eager to taste that he becomes a thief for the love, the sweet heart of his devotees. So much so that he will enter in by any way, by hook or by crook, to taste that love. How can we make Krishna greedy to taste our heart, our cooking, our arti, our chanting of Harinam, with a sweet heart, with a sweet calling out, and with a mood and an intention? So I was going to tell this the other day. I know I told it last time I was here.
But that was a long time ago, and some of you weren't here.
So, my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, when I was initiated, one of the first things he asked me, he said, you have been doing arti to Thakurji your whole life. Yes, Gurudev? My whole life. He said, why? Why are you doing arti? And I said, because it's auspicious. He said, yes, but more, why? Why are you doing it? And I said, I don't know. He said, oh, you're waving fire in Krishna's face. Do you think he likes that? I said, I don't know. He said, would you like it if I waved fire in your face? I said, no. He said, then why are you doing it to Krishna? Why? And I had no answer. So at that time, it was like dusk. He looked out the window. He knows what Krishna is doing at every time of the day. So he looked out and he said, just now, Krishna is coming home from grazing the cows. All day he's been out. And Yashoda Maya knows Krishna is coming now. Gurudev said the dust was rising from millions of cows and cowherd boys. So she knew Krishna is coming, Krishna is coming. But she didn't see him. So she took agarbatti, she took incense. And in the direction of that dust, she started to offer this arti. She was offering the agarbatti, but she started to pray, oh Narayan, please protect my Lala. Please protect my boy. When Krishna came, immediately he ran into the arms of his mother and she held him. She had been separated from him all day. Now she's holding him. But quickly she pulls him back because she knows he has been playing.
Sorry. Go ahead.
He's been playing with his sakhas all day. And sometimes there are maybe bites or scratches on his body from them. So she takes a lamp. Gurudev called it Prem Pradeep, lamp of love. And very slowly begins to circle his whole body like this. Gurudev said the next thing she does, she takes, or actually he said, her heart begins to melt. And that melted heart comes out in the form of tears and her own breast milk, and it begins to bathe Krishna's body. He said, what do we offer? We take water in a conch and we offer that to Krishna. Gurudev said, why? He said, we don't have any tears for Krishna. We've already offered our tears to everything else in this world. So we take shelter of that water in that pure conch, and in the name of my tears, I'm offering this water to you. Then Yashoda Maya takes her own dupatta and she wipes Krishna down. Then Gurudev said, why do we offer flowers to Guru and Krishna? Do we need them? He said, do we need them?
Right.
What will they do with them? I said, I don't know. He said, when we take any flower, we are taking shelter of something very pure, soft, fragrant, and sweet. And in the name of my Atma, which I have spent in this world, I have given my heart to every other thing. But in the name of my heart, I'm offering this flower at your feet. Please accept it as my soul, my heart. And then Gurudev looked at me and he said, so, you have been chanting Harinam Mahamantra your whole life. And I was like, yes, Gurudev. He said, anything is coming from your chanting of Harinam? Anything? I said, no, Gurudev. I should have said, you're the result. But I said, no. And then he said, why not? This is called the Mahamantra, the great mantra. He said, in Shastra, there are so many mantras that you can chant to attain so many different kinds of rewards or benefits. But this mantra, the Mahamantra, can give you all of that and more. And nothing is coming? No, Gurudev. And then he said, once there was a young man, and he had an arranged marriage. Before this marriage, he had never seen his bride. Only on the day of their marriage, when they lifted the veil, he saw her for the first time. But 3 months into their marriage, this new bride became sick. So this husband began to take her to so many doctors, but no one could figure out what was wrong with her. After some time, he had to stop working because he needed to take care of her. And soon, because he wasn't going to work, he became a beggar in the street. And Gurudev held this cloth like this, oh, help me, help me. She's going to die, please help me. Gurudev said, 3 months previous to this, she could have died. This girl could have died and it wouldn't have mattered. He wouldn't even have known. But because now that there is sambandha, there is relationship, he is willing to become a beggar in the street for her. He said, when you have sambandha, relationship with Harinam Prabhu like this, then you will also be willing to become a beggar in the street for Guru and Krishna. So he was telling that there has to be relationship to everything we do. This was the very first instruction after I received initiation that he gave me. When I'm doing arti, don't count circles. Don't just, one Vaishnava used to say, Om Jai Jagadish Hare, please give me a palace by the sea.
Right.
Something like that. Don't have any kind of material thing. I want to offer you my very self. And in the name of all of these elements, earth, water, fire, all of this, ether through like the incense, in the name of all of these elements, I'm offering what I have of this body, mind, this heart to you. If we are only just doing circles, how will Krishna, who is greedy for love, be attracted? Our Gurudev said, it may be that Lord Narayan can accept something like that. Because of awe and majesty, if you are praying to Narayan, he becomes pleased, but not Krishna. He wants everything. Once our Gurudev was saying that Krishna, he is so eager to taste anything fresh and new. He said that we should always be careful to offer everything that is very beautiful to Krishna. He said when you're cooking at home, most of us, we're not actually offering to Krishna. We're at home and we're cooking and we're thinking, oh, my children will like this. My husband, my wife, my parents, oh, they will like this dish. I'll make this, they're coming for a visit. They love this prep. And then as an afterthought, we offer it to Thakurji. Oh, Krishna, accept this. But it's already been offered. When you purchase the vegetables and you knew I'm going to make this, such and such will like it, or even I will like this, it's my favorite. So from the moment we're even purchasing the vegetables, we're offering it to ourselves and our loved ones. And then after it's already been offered, basically we offer it to Krishna. But Gurudev said, when we're ringing that bell, Krishna won't come. He said he will call Narayan. Oh, Narayan, somewhere someone is ringing a bell. You should go and take all the sin from that preparation and make it prasad, make it pure. But Gurudev said, Krishna won't take it. He said, when you're ringing that bell, remember, ding, ding, Narayan. Narayan will come, but not Krishna. And then he started to talk about us. He said, in the same way, we spend our lives in this world, dedicating ourselves to tasting this world, eating everything good and sweet, pakoras, all these lovely things. And then we become old and we can't digest it. Our teeth are falling out, our hair becomes gray, we can no longer digest the heavy foods that we once loved. Gurudev said, and then when we find we can no longer enjoy this world, we throw our arms in the air and say, hey Krishna, I'm yours, I'm yours. Gurudev said, this is giving your remnants. You've enjoyed your body, your mind, your heart, you've given it to material things. And now that you can no longer enjoy it, now I'm offering it to you, Krishna. And Krishna, Gurudev said, he doesn't want your remnants. He wants young and fresh. Obviously, Gurudev was joking, but he wants our hearts. And this is the point, that if we are trying to attract the Lord, then we have to have something. What does he want? What will attract him? Our independence. That is what we have. Krishna has given us our independence. We are not slaves to love him. We have the independence. We can either stay in samsar, Maya samsar, or we can enter into Krishna samsar. But he leaves that up to us. While we are in Maya samsar, he tries in so many different ways to attract us to him. Through Hari Katha, through Bhagavatam, Ramayan, Sadhu Sangha, Kirtan, Prasadam, Thakurji. In so many ways he's showing, look, you can be happy with me. You are my part and parcel and I'm worried for you. You're suffering and running away from me. And Mahaprabhu, Krishna, they're all running after us in all these ways, trying to show so much happiness is here. Don't look away. And when we turn from Maya and we give our independence to Sri Guru and then to Mahaprabhu and Krishna, then Krishna becomes attracted. Oh, you want me? After all this time, millions and millions of lifetimes, now you want me. And Krishna's heart begins to melt. And then we'll see how many different ways Krishna is trying to attract us and bring us to him. In every day of our life, we will see how many jewels Krishna is placing before us and how attracted we are becoming toward Krishna and how Maya Samsara is slowly moving away, holding on tight to the feet of Guru and Vaishnavas. So this is one of the first things that our Gurudev was telling us when we're chanting Mahamantra, not just to sing it, but urgently. I want you. I'm not here just because the music is good and the food is good. Yes, nice prasad, it's good. The company is nice. But we're coming together because we all want to come together and glorify you. We want you to be happy and pleased, and somehow or other, we want to serve you. That is why we're coming together. And we shouldn't lose that intention, coming and just being complacent. Otherwise, we will never attain that very, very beautiful adhikar of every Atma, which is to love and serve Krishna, Nitya Krishna Das, Dasi.
Okay, beautiful. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Can I connect the other harmonium now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Can we get the other harmonium?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be pumping harder, so I don't want to break yours. That one from Handel. Here it comes.
What page is it?
343.
343.
In the.
It's page 200
The new old
in
songbook.
non-spiral.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hindi is also sola.
200.
Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Vandanasa madhukaram marpaya vijapada pankajam
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite, page 341 in the little fat book.
It is still page 200 in
341.
Hindi 220.
You should say it in Hindi.
220. Hindi 220.
220. Italiano, 220.
Do you know why? Excuse me, sorry. Kishori Mohan Prabhu. Do you know why they don't put like Radhe Jaya Madhava Dayate after Krishna Deva Bhavan Pambande?
I have no idea.
Or Prabhu, what's the
Namami Nandanandana Manta Pragata.
yeah, they're like backwards, you know, in the songbook.
I don't know. Because there are two different conceptions, and they're both right. One is, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Controller, and the Supreme Manifester of everything, the source of everything. He is Shaktiman. So the possessor of all Shaktis. And the Purna Shakti, or the complete Shakti, who is the manifestation of the possessor of all Shakti, that is? Yes. So she's the Purna Shakti. She's coming from Shaktiman, in essence. Right? Fire gives off heat. Sun gives off heat and light. So from that perspective, Krishna is the source of everything, and everyone is his servant. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ar Savabhritya. There's only one supreme controller or Ishvara, that is Krishna, and all others are his servants. Srimati Radhika's mood is only how to serve and please Krishna, because she's made of that. She is his pleasure potency. The means by which he experiences pleasure is through that potency, the pleasure potency. So from that perspective, you will see that, well, Krishna is the source of everything, so then we end with Krishna. And then, this is tattva. Now you're going to look from the perspective of rasa. When you look from the perspective of rasa, Krishna becomes a beggar of prem. And who is the topmost premi person? Kotai go prema mai radhe radhe. So then Krishna is chasing after her, begging for that. He's running after her. He's seeing that she is my guru of prem, and I'm simply her dancing pupil. And she's making me dance like a madman according to her tune, as she likes. And so from that perspective, well, who's the guru there? We say, Vande Krishnam Jagat Gurum. He is the guru of the entire universe. But who is his guru of prem? So then, as our Gurudev would so affectionately say, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Srimati Radhika is the superior personality of Godhead. Krishna himself is claiming that. Krishna himself is completely subjugated by the love and affection of his devotees, and who has more devotion than she has. So from Tattva, you will see that Krishna is the be-all, end-all. But there's actually no difference between the two, technically. What is the meaning of Shaktiman without Shakti? Well, remove the word Shakti from the beginning of that word, and you're left with Man. So there's no meaning to that word without the word Shakti. And what is the meaning of the word Shakti without Shaktiman? There's no meaning to it.
They're inseparable.
They're actually inseparable. Only for the purpose of experiencing pranay, or the exchange of love and affection, do they eternally have two separate forms. But really there's no difference. If I were to tell you about the sun, if I say the sun, what is the first thing you think?
Hot.
Hot. You?
Light.
Light. What else?
the moon.
Moon. What else do you think? Beautiful.
Growth.
Anything else? Growth. Nourishment. What about shape?
Round.
It looks like a round ball in the sky. That's
Hanuman
really
thought
hard
it
to
was
look
something
at.
to eat.
Yes, Hanuman thought it was a nice orange and he went jumping for that orange. So we see all of these different aspects. Everything that is an aspect is in essence Shakti. By the mercy of Shakti, one can understand that there is the sun. But all attributes are potency in essence. You cannot separate that. If you were to remove all of that from the sun, shape, light, heat, nourishment, the way it shines on the moon, and every other attribute, would you have the sun any longer? No. The sun would be a non-existent non-entity. So you couldn't even say that technically Krishna without Srimati Radhika would be Nirvishesh Brahm, because Nirvishesh Brahm also has attributes to it. Divine light or energy or anything. There's something there. So there's no meaning to Krishna without Srimati Radhika, and there's no meaning to Radha without Krishna. So if we understand them from that perspective, yes, this is tattva. But still then we would see Krishna as the supreme, the topmost, but from rasa, then he becomes subservient and completely subjective to the love and affection of his devotee. Then ultimately, rasa always trumps tattva. And that is Vrindavan. Rasa is trumping tattva every time. Krishna is paratattva. And all the greatest of all sages are going, oh my God, aho bhagyam nandagopa vrajokasam yan mitram paramanandam purnam brahma sanatana. They're literally going, how fortunate, how amazing are the residents of Braj that Purna Brahma Sanatana, the supreme absolute truth himself, is playing like an ordinary child in the courtyard of Nanda Baba. And they're completely shocked. Durvasa Muni, who is a manifestation of Lord Shiva himself, is sitting there watching as Krishna is wrestling with his friends. Who is it, Subal? Sridham? Sridham and Krishna are wrestling. And as they're wrestling, Sridham takes Krishna, flips him over and slams him in the dust, jumps on top of him and says, I have won. They're just looking at God getting slammed in the dust. How is this possible? That he is getting slammed in the dust by this little boy. And then this boy jumps on top of him and says, I win. And then Krishna says to him, you haven't won, I won. And he said, what do you mean? Everyone, you just saw me win, right? And they're like, yeah. And Krishna's like, you're all wrong. And they're like, how am I wrong? Look, I'm on top, you're down. Krishna's like, my nose is pointed up, yours is down, therefore I have won. These sages are watching, going, what? Not only did he lose, but now he's trying to lie his way out of it and trying to change the rules and make up something else. Oh, look, there's a Baba over there. Long white beard, long hair, just sitting there, wow, like this.
Durvasa.
It was Durvasa. So they both go, hey, Baba, you saw everything. Tell us who won. And he's like, completely in shock. Krishna sits on one side, Sridham on the other side. They're pulling on his beard. Baba, Baba, who won? You saw everything. And he's completely in shock. At that moment, he looked into Krishna's mouth and he saw what Yashoda saw. The entire cosmos, unlimited universes and everything. And he himself saw himself entering into Krishna's mouth, where he remained for the duration of a Brahmanda. The entire duration of a universal creation and dissolution. And then after all of that, he came back out, and he's still seeing the same thing going on. He's completely befuddled, bedazzled, confused, flabbergasted, shocked. Durvasa's going, what's going on? And they're pulling on his beard. Tell us who won. And then he can't say anything. So they just say, he's useless. He doesn't know anything. Let's go play. And they just leave him alone. So this same supreme absolute truth, who is the source of everything. Krishna is saying, Aham sarvasya prabhava. I'm the source of everything. Everything is emanating from me. There is no truth superior to me. Everything is resting upon me like pearls are strung on a thread. Before, only I existed. Now, only I exist. In the future, only I will exist. He's saying this. And these sages are looking and just like completely amazed. The supreme absolute truth is being defeated by rasa. So the ultimate conception, of course the foundation is there. The tattva must be there. That tattva is the playground. And rasa is defeating that tattva in the playground. So you need that foundation, but rasa is taking over. So which one ultimately wins? Ultimately, love wins. Gurudev said Vrindavan is such a place where love conquers all. Love, prem, is conquering everyone. It's conquering Krishna, conquering Srimati Radhika, conquering everyone. And the question came yesterday, why do we want to control Krishna? Like Gurudev is always, if you want to control Krishna, but he's God. Why would I want to control him? Because he wants to be controlled by love. So therefore, the desire to control Krishna should manifest out of the natural propensity of bhakti, which means for his happiness, his pleasure, and his benefit. If he wants to be controlled, then let me somehow develop that love by which he will be controlled. Then I will be able to serve him and please him according to his desire. So this is basic, foundational essence of rasa and tattva. The tattva is there, the supreme absolute truth is there, Krishna, in Vrindavan, as Mahaprabhu said. But rasa itself is completely defeating. So Srimati Radhika is the superior personality of Godhead. There's no difference between the two, but if you were to actually define them according to rasa, you would have to see that Krishna is running after her, begging for her praying. Then who is the superior? Right? So there's, yes?
So probably on this, like the tattva and rasa, so Krishna being the supreme personality of Godhead and being the possessor of Shakti, so when he wants to experience the bliss that he gets through rasa, given that Shakti is inside him and then he manifests them outside, so why to manifest them outside when he is like already having them inside, like the bliss is already inside him?
Yes.
So why does he need to manifest it with the rasa with all the people in general?
Because he wants to. Does he need to do anything? Not necessarily. But he likes to. Our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, has explained something quite interesting. We should understand that actually everything is in Krishna. This is tattva. Radhika is in Krishna. And Krishna is in Radhika. They are inseparable in a sense, and yet they manifest in two forms. So, if Radhika was inside Krishna, Krishna would be experiencing what he's experiencing. So why is he manifesting pastimes? There's a reason he manifests pastimes. To reciprocate with his devotees. Because his devotees have a natural aptitude for glorifying Krishna. He says, Manmana, Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Always absorb your mind in thinking of me. Worship me. Offer your pranam to me. He's saying this. And also, Madchita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantastamam Nityam Tushyanti Charamanticha. What are my devotees always doing? What gives them happiness and pleasure? To always remember my names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. So he could be just near Vishesh Brahm, if he wanted. Because he also has that aspect. He could, in essence, not manifest any lila, any rasa or anything, and be fully satisfied in himself. This is his intrinsic nature. But how does he please his devotees? They like to remember his names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. For his devotees, he has eternally manifested these names, forms, qualities, and pastimes as an intrinsic, integral part of himself. Right? You have your nature. You could be just yourself. How does your wife, how does your children, how do they understand that you care for them? You reciprocate with them. You could just feel it inside. And it might not be enough for them. Wait a second, I need you to do something. So Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. Their nature is to love him. And his nature, his own nature, is reciprocation. As he says, Ye yata mam prapadyante tangstataiva bhajamyaham. As one approaches me, I reciprocate accordingly. This is his nature. And because of that love, which is so great, so powerful, that prem, when it is so great and powerful, he also cannot help himself. If someone has completely given themselves unto him, then he completely gives himself unto them. Even if you are the smallest particle, which we are, Vibhin Angsta Jiva, if we completely submit ourselves in love and affection to him, completely, 140%. Now in India, there's dhabas on the way to Vrindavan, and in Delhi it says 140% vegetarian. We're like, what is that? We all get our photos taken in front of the sign. If one submits themselves 1,000%, I have given my everything, 100%, completely. Krishna himself, the supreme absolute truth, will also give himself 100%. In other words, the smallest particle, us, jiva, vibhin angsa, can completely capture and control the complete absolute truth. And that is the impossible being made possible by Krishna's Shakti, known as Aghatana Ghatana Patiyasi Shakti, the power to make the impossible possible. It seems like an impossibility, but there is nothing impossible for the absolute, infinite truth, Krishna. So why would he do that? So our Param Guru Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Goswami Maharaj, he explains that if your tongue was made of sugar, and I gave you sugar to eat, what would you taste? Nothing. But Krishna is Raso Vaisaha, and he is the taster of all rasa. So he is the reservoir of all rasa, and he is the taster of all rasa. So Krishna, if you look at it from the perspective of Tattva, is known as Vishai Bhagavan, the supreme enjoyer of everything. And he has, in essence, manifested outside of himself something which gives him enjoyment. So we're using the same sugar thing. So how can you taste sugar? Well, your tongue is not made of sugar. Your tongue is made of taste buds. Krishna is the supreme taste bud. He is the supreme enjoyer of all rasas. And the embodiment of the giver of rasa, which has in essence manifested from himself, who has nothing to take but everything to give. In other words, the flavor itself, full of all different varieties of rasa that have divided unlimitedly for his pleasure, right? You're not going to be happy mixing your rice, dal, sabji, chapatis, and rasmalai and bitter melon all in one blender, right? And take the shake. It's not going to be good. So you want to taste each thing individually. So that embodiment of rasa, rasa Ishwari, has manifested in essence herself unlimitedly. Each one is a particular flavor, so to speak, for that supreme transcendental taste bud, Krishna, to be able to relish rasa. Why does he do it? Because he likes to taste ras. Is he satisfied within himself? Yes. He is Atmaram and Aptakam. So, if you think of like this, my self-satisfying nature is within me. Now, if I pull my self-satisfying nature and put it right outside of me, is it not my self-satisfying nature any longer? It still is. Just because Radhika is here, if he puts her here, is she his or not his any longer? No, she's still there. The Shastra speaks about Brahm, Paramatma, Bhagavan. There is the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. That is also true and that is real. Then there's the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. That is also true and real. That is within everything, outside of everything, in your heart, within every atom, localized, everywhere. But Brahm and Paramatma are not tasters and reciprocators of rasa. Therefore, they are not the be-all, end-all of any jiva's journey. Because the jiva, every jiva, has a proclivity to serve. And service means in relationship implies rasa and also reciprocation. So then there is the other aspect mentioned in Shastra, that is Bhagavan. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdyate. If we want to accept and understand the absolute truth, we must accept and understand that the absolute truth has the impersonal feature, the localized feature, and the personal feature. If we were to deny any one of these, then we could not call what we are trying to refer to this supreme being as God. I have personality, I have features, I have relationships, I have friendships, I have feelings. I have so many different things, even within this material condition. Where is it coming from? It is a perverted reflection, in essence, of the absolute. If I can have all of this, how can I deny it from my source? then I would be, in essence, having or possessing something more than God would have, which would make God not God. Right? God, if I say God can't have that, then I'm denying the Godhead to Godhead. God must possess all of that. And that's why we have some reflection of it in this world. So why does he have relationships with personalities outside of himself? The question is, why not? Because he wants to. Ultimately, everything happens according to his desire, and it is eternally so. There is a feature of him that doesn't have that, and that is Brahma Nirvana. Nirvana means without variety. And then there's the other extreme, which is Bhagavana. Bhagavana means full of all kinds of variety. You say Van means variety, forest, or anything. And the extreme of Bhagavana, because Bhagavan means Atmaram, Aptakam, he has no desire outside of himself. He's completely self-satisfied. Atmaram, Aptakam. But there's the extreme. And the extreme of that is Krishna, who is somehow manifesting just the opposite of Atmaram and Aptakam. That must also be included within the absolute, if you're going to consider the absolute absolute. If he is absolute, then he will be Atmaram and Aptakam and Anaptaram and Anaptakam also. So the extreme of that would be found in Krishna of Vrindavan. He's never satisfied, and he's full of desires, always running after the love of his devotees, and that love creates within him the craving. Like she said before, she was telling that katha, as that devotee was crying and calling out the name of Narayan, he could not help himself. By force he was pulled by that love. As the gopis are churning the yogurt to make butter, all of their prema is going into that butter, and he cannot help himself. Not just to want to eat it, he can't even wait to ask permission. He has to go and steal it. So that love is pulling him. That love is attracting him. And this is also due to his own intrinsic, eternal nature. That I can only be controlled by love and devotion. So he manifests all of these different aspects eternally. But why does he manifest in this world and show these pastimes? For the pleasure of his devotees. Because they relish hearing about him, relish speaking about him, relish doing kirtan about him, remembering his form, his qualities, his pastimes. Oh, they like this? Then let me manifest such beautiful pastimes for their happiness and pleasure. Does Krishna need to manifest as Narasimha Bhagavan to kill Hiranyakashipu? No. He doesn't need to. If in cosmic sleep Mahavishnu is breathing out unlimited universes and breathing in unlimited universes, in essence, creation and destruction taking place, just while he's sleeping, why does he need to manifest and perform this amazing pastime of killing Hiranyakashipu, or fighting with Hiranyaksha, or defeating Bali Maharaj, or killing Ravan, rescuing Sita? Why does he need to do this? He's showing his pastimes for the pleasure of his devotees. So Krishna is naturally reciprocating with love and affection by manifesting all of these pastimes. And these pastimes are eternal because his devotees are eternal, because love is eternal, prema is eternal. So this is all part of his Nitya Leela. All of his eternal pastimes are taking place constantly for the pleasure of his devotees. Does that make sense? Did it create any other questions?
I can have a follow-up, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
So, maybe different analogy, Prabhuji, but like in science, we study that, so like in this world, at least this material body, when the pains and the pleasures, they are just like some chemicals being released. And that's when we, experience happiness and the distress. So with this, like in this material world, when we take the analogy, I'm just trying to take the analogy. So in this world, when I'm, let's say, experiencing a pain by the analogy of eating sugar, so eventually the taste buds, blah, 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 but like so many things, but eventually that chemical get released, I experience the pleasure.
Yes.
So the eating of the sugar is secondary or basically the cause, but the effect for my bliss is that chemical being released.
Yes.
So similarly, now we can expand it to all the pleasure-giving things. Eventually, that chemical release is the
Yes.
main thing for the bliss, and likewise for the suffering.
Mm.
So similarly, now when we look at it from the rasa perspective, when Krishna experiences the bliss, so all these things are eventually like same way. Are they secondary, and then can he experience the same thing even without this, or can the devotees also experience the same thing with does it become secondary in that way? Am my question clear? No. So what I'm trying to say is that in material world, everything is boiled down. And that's what scientists say. I'm not sure that it is true or not, but experiencing a pleasure or a pain, eventually they say it's like adrenaline or something. Like when we are excited,
Yes.
adrenaline gets released, and there are certain chemicals.
Endorphins.
So it's, for example, it might be quite possible that I sit on a chair and experience the same bliss that I received when my father came, like I saw him after a long time. The same bliss or some even more than that I can release just by an injection, like
Yes.
releasing that
Sure.
chemical. So basically now that bliss I'm experiencing even without the external phenomena.
Yes.
Naturally, it would be like my father. I am seeing him after a long time and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I can experience the same thing just by sitting without any external thing, just by an injection, by the chemical reaction. So I'm just trying to, although I know that the spiritual world is different, but in the similar way, when all these things, like let's say Krishna and devotee, when they are reciprocating through a pastime. So pastime, it happened, and then before the pastime, they didn't experience that pleasure. After the pastime, they both experience the pleasure. So pastime is like facilitating that.
Yes.
Can it be facilitated without the pastimes also? Just like in this case, we saw that we facilitated that pleasure through the...
Theoretically, yes. But Krishna prefers the pastime. He prefers it that way. That's why he has manifested himself unlimitedly into unlimited forms. And also unlimited manifestations of Shakti. Bahu kanta vinanahe raser ulas. Without so many beloveds, ras cannot attain its highest peak or highest destination. So why does he do it? Because he likes it that way. So you can say, yes, I can experience whatever I want within myself. Krishna can. He does, actually, because he is Advait Gyan Tattva. So there's nothing that is outside of himself. And yet, within that, you can call it the oneness, there is also infinite variety. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coined a very beautiful term. We could try to wrap our heads around it, but actually we won't be able to understand it through the mind and intelligence process, only through experience and only by mercy of Krishna through his pure devotees. It is called Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Literally, the first word means inconceivable. So that's why I said we won't be able to understand it, because it's inconceivable to the material mind and material intelligence, because they cannot cross over the boundary of the material world. We're talking about spiritual subject matter, which is divine, transcendental, and above that. So Achintya is the first thing to remember. Then, Bhed. It is different, and Abhed. Non-different. Simultaneously different and not different. Sometimes it's been translated as different, or oneness and difference. And Tattva means truth. So the difference and not difference between Bhagavan and his Shaktis, or energies. There is no difference, and yet simultaneously there is a difference. In other words, he is completely satisfied within himself. He is everything. There is no difference between him and his pleasure potency, and yet he has chosen to manifest her externally. But it's not that she's no longer his pleasure potency. So, for rasa purposes, these two have manifested eternally in the form of Radha and Krishna. And then again, although they are one Atma, the Supreme Atma, they have come together in one form. In the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In other words, he is their Prem Murti. So, two forms coming back together. Why? Because he wants to. Why not? So can he experience? Yes, he can. And can he experience outside of himself? Yes, he can. Can he do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants? Absolutely. That is God. And that we cannot take away from him. Can he change the rules? Yes. Will he? I don't know. He's whimsical. He can do what he wants. That is God by nature. So, theoretically, yes, he can sit there and experience all pleasure within himself, but that same pleasure steps outside of himself and astounds himself by his own yoga maya potency, his own internal potency of increasing his transcendental pleasure for the pleasure of himself and all of his devotees. He's manifesting unlimited, variegated, transcendental pastimes. So, we're going back to the verse that we mentioned before. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita states, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Hladini Shakti Rasmat Ekatmana Vapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Vedam Katoto Chaitanyakyam Pakatamaduna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhava Duty Subalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. So, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Hladini Shaktir Asmat Ekatma. Although they are one Atma, Param Atma or the Supreme Atma, for the purpose of, you can say, tasting, experiencing, or showing pranay, the exchange of transcendental love and affection, or prem, they have eternally manifested in these two forms, Radha, Krishna. Again, these two have come together in one form, known as Chaitanya. Chaitanya Akyo. This Akyo means the name is Chaitanya. Prakatam Aduna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam. Both have come together in one form. Radha Bhava Duty Sabalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. He's Krishna himself, but completely saturated in and coated in the bhav of Srimati Radhika, by which he is also manifesting that complexion. So at that time, Krishna, who is encapsulated by the love and obsession of Gaurangi, has manifested the form of Gauranga, and that is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Really? It's getting late. Okay, you had a question. Was that okay?
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, the comparison of the feeling of bliss, like with chemicals and everything. So the bliss that a bhakta feels, hearing the pastimes of Krishna and having that relationship, it's so much more than anything that we could ever experience in this material realm, right? And like, so when the conditioned soul reaches the level of prem, they can't even contain the bliss, right? Like, they just leave their material body. So yeah, I mean, I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Did you hear her question? So when any jiva, bound jiva of this world, progresses to the level of prem, they can no longer maintain this material body. All of our acharyas, and also our shastras, from those who have experienced prem, they see, and you will hear this also. Sri Ramanujacharya has also spoken on this. Kaivalyam narakayate. That the experience of the bliss of attainment of Brahmagyan or mukti into nirvana, for that person who has experienced prem or divine transcendental love, which is the complete opposite extreme of what is in this material world, just that is almost like hellish in comparison, because it is devoid of the exchange of prem and rasa. Therefore, Sri Hanumanji himself, Sri Rupa Goswami has written down in Padyavali an ancient verse by Hanuman, that if I was ever offered this opportunity to merge into the Brahm, or the formless aspect of God, if it is devoid of seva, I will never accept it. And Srimad Bhagavatam says the same thing. Srimad Narayan is telling, if I ever offer my bhakta the opportunity for sayujya mukti, or the liberation of merging into my existence, merging into my effulgence or my form, they will never accept it, because there you will not find any differentiation. And if there's no differentiation, then where is the seva? If the jivatma is made of dasitva or dasatva, I'm made of das. Jiver surupahoy krishner nitya das. The nature of all jivas is that I'm an eternal servant of Krishna, of Bhagavan. Well, if you're placed into a situation where seva cannot manifest, then this cannot be the final destination of any jiva. So I just wanted to mention, yes, the highest pleasure that anyone can attain within this material world is nothing. Not even liberation into mukti dham or the effulgence of Bhagavan. This is like nothing compared to the bliss of prem of Bhagavan. Sri Satyavat Muni in Sri Damodarashtakam, he's saying, Varam deva moksham no mokshavadimva nachanyam brineham vareshadapiha idam te vapurnatha gopalabalam sadami manasya virashtam kimanyai. Varam deva moksha. I don't want this moksha. I don't even want the end result of moksha, which is going to Narayan and Vaikuntha. What does he say? Idam te vapurnatha gopalabalam. Idam te vapurnatha gopalabalam sadami manasya virashtam. May this beautiful form of Balagopa, like that little one there, always remain manifest in my heart, within my vision. He's not attracted to all of that other thing. And again we hear the same thing. Also in Sri Jagannath Ashtakam it is told that I also don't want this. I don't want that lesser thing. I can attain liberation, but liberation from the material suffering is only coming to, I call it the flat line, right? It's neutrality. So you have flat line from the material world, but it's kind of like a death because it is devoid of action. And the nature of the soul is Sat Chit Ananda. It needs relationship, Chit, and Ananda. It needs bliss, love, happiness. Ananda. It requires it. Without that, it will not find its satisfaction. So you've come to the flat line. On the other side, Krishna is saying, there is a completely different realm. It is transcendental and divine. Unlike this material world. It is superior. And once anyone has attained to that abode, they never return again to this material world of birth and death. That is the realm of rasa, where Bhagavan is running after his devotees and their love and affection. You both had some, or you two had something.
I just wanted to ask you, there's one more aspect of Krishna wants to enjoy, but at the same time he also wants his devotee to enjoy. So,
yes.
Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham devam asthita bhajate tadrushi kridayaha shrutva tatparo. So he wants to reciprocate the same way his devotee wants to see him.
Yes.
So that is another reason of he performing all these pastimes.
That's the primary reason.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need to do it, but why does he do it?
His
right?
names are always in connection with his activities, with his devotees.
Anugrahaya bhaktanam. For the pleasure of his devotees, he manifests all of these beautiful pastimes and leelas. Because they love to think about him, speak about him, remember him. If he didn't manifest the pastimes, what would they think about, meditate on, or remember? No pastimes? So then he would be failing in his reciprocation. But his word is, I will reciprocate according to the love of my devotees. They relish his pastimes, so he performs more and more pastimes, and they relish those even more, and then he performs more, and unlimited pastimes. One universe, and the next one, and the next one, like a transcendental roadshow, going from one to the next, multiplying his pastimes everywhere, and his devotees are experiencing ever renewed bliss and happiness. Tushyanti cha, ramanti cha. And the more they're experiencing bliss and happiness by relishing his pastimes, their love for him is increasing, and then he's manifesting more pastimes to reciprocate. So it's a never-ending cycle of bliss and happiness and pastimes. Wait, Prabhu?
Just just continuing on this one.
Yes.
So that we don't lose. So, but our goal should not be sort of, receiving that bliss. We understand hearing Harikatha is so blissful and everything, but our goal should not be to enjoy, right?
Right.
We still have to think of only service, and because of that service, we'll get the remnants.
A byproduct.
Yes, right? Then how does that correlate to Krishna saying, I'm doing this for the pleasure of my devotee?
The devotee's pleasure is in pleasing Krishna. and automatically pleasure comes to them as a result. So in serving and pleasing Krishna, automatically their pleasure is growing infinitely more. But their only desire is to please him. So how does Krishna reciprocate accordingly? Well, his only desire would be to please them. So although this is why the devotees are considered akinchan and nishkinchan, they don't have any desire, they don't want anything, they only want to please Krishna. This is why Krishna says to the gopis, Napareham niravadya samyujam, you've given everything. What do you want? Nothing. We just want you to be happy. We want you to be pleased. He's like, how am I going to repay you? I have no way to repay you for this love and affection. It is so great and so powerful that Krishna says, let your love be its own repayment. That is the greatest thing in all creation. Be satisfied with your love. I cannot even repay that because they have fully dedicated everything to him. So he is completely purchased by them. Srila Prabhupada writes that Krishna becomes simply a plaything in the hands of the gopis. Because they have given their hearts completely so, he is theirs. They can do with him as they like.
But, like, simple example is when Uma Didi came. Okay. She couldn't find the flowers with a fragrance. So she's like, Krishna is not going to enjoy these flowers without any smell. So we had to go drive around to find flowers with the smell. So as soon as she found those flowers, because she wanted to offer something which will have a nice fragrance, so at least Krishna will enjoy. So when she found those, how much she was happy. So she was happy because she found something which Krishna will enjoy. Nice. So she had that bliss. So it's a simple reciprocation. You have to have a desire.
The desire of the devotee is only to please Krishna. This is called pure bhakti. So even though she mentioned before that intense greed, what is the intense greed for? Well, it's for Krishna bhakti rasa, the nectar of Krishna bhakti. Well, what is Krishna bhakti? Bhakti means for Krishna's happiness, Krishna's pleasure, Krishna's benefit. It's not about me at all. And as a natural byproduct, side effect of that intense greed and desire to serve Krishna for his happiness, his pleasure, and his benefit, he will do his best to try to reciprocate. So there's not a desire for it. And when he does reciprocate, sometimes it becomes a source of annoyance for the devotee. Oh, your reciprocation has stopped me from serving you. So they don't want it. They say, damn that ecstasy, which stopped my seva. So it's not about the pleasure that I receive by serving Bhagavan, but it is about the pleasure that Bhagavan receives from my service, and automatically bliss of the highest extent will manifest within one's own heart. You wanted to add something?
A little bit. Just on the topic of chemicals, you know, they're talking about chemicals and stuff like that.
It's okay, I did really good in chemistry.
Oh, well, I was going to say that, like, you know, consciousness is still, it's still entirely a mystery to contemporary science, yes. Right? To all fields. And experience cannot be boiled down to chemicals particularly. If you talk to a biologist, experience can boil down to chemicals, but if you talk to a physicist, experience is boiled down to interactions.
Yeah, but what about a Microsoft engineer?
Completely different. And in fact, that's the thing, is that the body is a interface for consciousness, but it's not, it's not entirely, it can't boil down to one thing or another, so experience is very much a mystery. It transcends.
Well, my question is if Krishna is absolute, his sweetness is absolute, his reciprocation is absolute, there's not a byproduct later of it. Every interaction is absolute. Every sweetness that he's tasting and giving is absolute. Is it not?
Can you please rephrase that?
What I'm saying is that, okay, if Krishna is tasting sweetness,
yes,
of the gopis,
yes,
it is his absolute pleasure.
Yes.
It's not something that is like a chemical reaction or a byproduct of something. That reciprocation to him is absolute.
But if it's absolute, why does he want to taste more?
Because there is something in it that he does not understand, and that is Krishna praying. That's why we don't pray for Krishna. we pray for Krishna Prem, that he doesn't have. That he actually does not understand. He doesn't understand what it is like to love him and serve him. Right? So it drives him crazy. We heard last night, I was quoting Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj is saying, you only become mad and obsessed when there's something you don't have or you don't understand. What he doesn't understand is what it is like to love him, and he is the taster of everything, but he doesn't know, and that's where that comes in. Sugar can't taste sugar. So he has to come with Radha Bhav in the form of his own devotee to try to taste Krishna Seva and Krishna Prem, because that dances on the head of what Krishna himself is experiencing. So he wants more. And the reciprocation of the devotee is such that as soon as Krishna sees it, he tries to give equally, if not more, but automatically they cannot help but give more. And so it's never ending. This is why when he's saying he's never satisfied, because there's always more. When he's so beautiful, Madan Mohan, there's Madan Mohan Mohini. And then he tries, like Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj said, a transcendental beauty competition. Krishna is becoming more beautiful, but she's reciprocating and becoming more. And he's astounded and shocked, and his beauty is increasing. And it doesn't end, so he can't become actually satisfied. He always wants more. And the way that they're serving is, he said, he cannot reciprocate. That's his promise. I will reciprocate as you come to me. I will. And then he sees the gopis and he can't. It's astonishing, and he cannot reciprocate with that seva. So it drives him mad. Krishna Prem drives him mad because he doesn't have that. He doesn't know what it is like to serve in the mood of a bhakta. And that is why Krishna has this transformation of his own Shakti. Just like if you have a pot of milk, it's wonderful, it's nourishing, but how much better is it when you can have paneer and rasgulla and rasmalai, and you can do so many things and have so many varieties with that one substance, milk. So it's full in itself, it's complete. Ghee is there, everything is present there. But when you start to refine it and you start to have transformation go into it, you put sugar in it, you put honey, whatever it might be, you make it sweeter and it comes out more and more. This is what Vrindavan is to Krishna. This transformation, Vrindavan is Krishna's own heart. And there he's able to taste and touch all of his desires. And he can search the intricacies of his own heart. It's taken a form. That Samdini potency has become solid now, like paneer. And you can make so many other things with it. So Krishna's tasting, and there's more and more taste. So he's becoming more and more greedy. He may be satisfied, but he's not tasting greed. When that Hladini potency steps outside, then that rasa begins. It has a form now. Now he can touch, he can see, there's manifestation, and then more and more, and there's seva. There's relishment in that. And then as he sees the bhaktas becoming enchanted, he's the supreme ego. Oh, look at them like this. Then he becomes more, he steals more, he does more charming things, and they adore him even more. He's, oh, I have to do more. I want them to love me more. And he can't get enough of that love. And they can't get enough of him. And so he's tasting really the intricacies of his own heart in Braj. It's not different from him. It's not like, it's not self-satisfied. It's still him. It's still all his potency. Hladini potency and Sandini, it's all his. But yet now it has a form, it has attribute. And he finds that to be relishable. It's exquisite for him.
In the material world, it's sort of like the sour milk patch that he likes to sniff once in a while.
And he spits.
Vibhatsaras. He does experience Vibhatsaras. This question that you asked, there's something known as Yavat Ashray Vritti. And that means when you think that it can no longer go any further, that prem has hit the ceiling, it has hit the top, the maximum extreme, it breaks through that barrier and continues unlimitedly more. And even if there are other barriers you think it can never go any higher, it will continue to go beyond it. So one thing that I have learned about Bhagavan is he has a name called Vibhu. That means ever increasing. So when we say absolute, we try to box absolute because it's complete. But it is infinitesimal going one way and infinite going the other way. Unlimited. There's no limit. Which means that God is not a static entity. He is an ecstatic or dynamic entity. Always increasing. And the prem of his bhaktas is always increasing as well.
Chaitanya Charitamrita, I said it last night, but Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that it's like a spotless mirror when he looks in the heart of Srimati Radhika and he thinks he can capture it. But if you put a mirror in front of a room that is absolutely stocked to the brim, you put a mirror and it looks doubled.
Instantly.
That's what Krishna sees. It's like, look at my beauty. Oh my God, it's doubled in her.
What if you put a mirror in front of that mirror?
It's unlimited. And then he becomes crazy. I have to have that. He doesn't understand it. And then he's running to understand it. And just when he thinks he does,
it expands even more.
It's just like going to the hair salon and they have the mirrors on both
right,
sides.
right, you see it like
it never ends.
Yeah.
And you can visualize yourself going to the end, but theoretically, you will never find the end. And that's just within the material realm. If you're going into the transcendental realm, it's way beyond anything that one can even consider.
In our limited way of understanding it, is that everything material that we have done in our lives, we find that the ecstasy of it comes to an end. You fall in love, the diwana, all this, and then it's, you're married. And then that turning of the stomach, when you get the butterflies.
She still has butterflies.
You get the butterflies, and you can't stop thinking.
She says once you get married, all done.
And then there's,
she's thinking theoretically.
The person's not always on your mind, and you look. It might change into a friendship or hate. It might turn into so many other things. But you come to a limit. When you get a job, you want this great job. You get that job, and you find, I've reached it. Like, I was reading about the richest man in the world. He's just going up in a spaceship to look at space and comes back down because, what's left here? We reach our limit. But when we're following the process of bhakti, so we've been traveling, preaching, and doing this for 20 some odd years. Okay, we were born, but 20 some odd years doing our seva. And we find that it's only increasing. The inspiration, the excitement, the astonishment of the reciprocation of Guru and Krishna, all of the different ways that Krishna reciprocates, it's so exciting. We're not finding a limit. It's the only thing that we have found in our lives that is increasing continuously.
Exponential increase, exponential curves. Everything else goes up for a little moment, and then it goes flatline, and then it drops off the edge. Every other job, every other thing we've ever done, it goes, yeah, I got a job. Falls off the edge.
The daily grind. You get up, you're like, oh, the same faces, same work, same thing.
But in this Seva Gurudev has given us, honestly, it has just been an exponential increase of enthusiasm, excitement, inspiration, and fire.
The most exciting thing is what you read maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you read today, it's completely different. Mm-hmm. And there's so much more coming from it. There's so much more excitement. And you can see all the little nuances and you see all the hidden meanings and you're like, wow!
And then you hear Gurudev speak about it and you're like, I didn't even see that. Wow!
And then another Vaishnava comes and you're like, wow! And it can only be on one particular part of something. But because it's transcendental, it is even expanding for us here and now. We can understand something of that. Everything else here, it's only limited to our imagination, which is also stunted. We've only got so much. We only know so much. We can only comprehend so much. But in the process of following this line of bhakti, we have found that we are becoming more and more excited. It's more and more inspiration. And we're learning more and more, even from what we learned 30 years ago.
Or 2 years ago.
Or 2 years ago. And sometimes you get inspiration. I've heard him speak and he's like, I don't know where I've heard that. Have I heard that? And then all of a sudden he'll be reading. He'll be like, look, Gurudev says it right here. It's the truth. Because sometimes he's like, I have to apologize to the devotees. It's like, I don't know where that came from. What was it? So then he starts searching and then he finds where our acharyas have said it. And then he quotes it like mad. Here's where this person says it. This one says it here. But it's so tasty, so exciting. What to speak of if Harinam begins to reveal himself to us. Those pastimes begin to awaken. When you feel and see that reciprocation, what will that be like? When even in our dreams we're remembering Krishna, then we will become mad.
27th.
27th what?
The quality.
Oh.
Oh, this one.
So, Srila Prabhupada, well, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita states that there are 26 qualities of a devotee. 26. Kripalu, Akrita Droha, Satya, Sarasama, Nidosha, Vadanya, Mridu, Shriti, Akinchana. And there's one main quality that gives all of the other qualities its true value, and that is the one right smack in the center, known as Krishnaika Sharana, complete surrender to Krishna. But there's the 27th quality, which is not mentioned there. There needs to be a little bit of madness. That means you have to have your heart open to be able to love Krishna. And with that, you have to forget about what other people think about you. Evam vratasva priyanamakitya jatanurago drita chitta uchai hasaptato roti tiroti gaya unmada van nrit iloka bahya. Evam vratasva. When one takes up that vrat, that vow to always remember Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, their heart will start to become somewhat mad. They will begin dancing, crying, weeping, rolling on the ground like a mad person. Unmadavan nrittati means dancing like a mad person, completely unaware and uncaring, because you're unaware, of what anyone else has to think or say about you. So this will naturally come as one's prema is increasing. One won't be able to even worry about what anyone else is thinking, so some divine madness needs to come. And we see that also. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, Prema mugdha hoye pagalini pray. When will that day come? When in prema I will become like a mad woman wandering in Braj, weeping and crying. And also we understand, Prema unmada vasada shesha dasya grastom pramatosara prema unmada. In prema one will become like divinely mad. Not mad meaning angry. Completely bewildered by love and affection, only crying and searching for Krishna. And this is part of the process of bhakti, and that divine madness is very attractive to Krishna. Yeah? I was chanting that thing yesterday. What's the time?
8:36.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's a work day.
Is it a work day? Oh, this is our work.
You work every day.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari and Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Radhe
हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे
श्रीपाद किशोरी मोहन प्रभु की जय, सुदेवी दीदी की जय।
दंडवत प्रणाम वैष्णव,
दंडवत प्रणाम एवरीवन, दंडवत प्रणाम, दंडवत दंडवत everyone.
Give darshan of Adonai briefly.
So Janardhan Prabhu brought a photo of our Thakurji, who are currently in Vrindavan. They're always in Vrindavan. It's Shri Radha Vinobihari Ju and Sachinandan Gaura Hari.
And the baby.
The baby is here with us.
It's like on Facebook today morning.